All right, time to import some data, and a bit of a fair warning. This is kind of tedious, but again, it's kind of the trade-off of you curating and creating your own data set. The trade-off is that you got to be the one to enter the data and find the data and figure it out. So like I said, I do have a spreadsheet. Check the description here. You should be able to have a link to it. But here it is up on the screen. You see I have just the name of every place, I have the description, the street address, latitude, longitude, website, phone number, right? All the stuff we'll need. Sean, how did you get this stuff? I Googled, right? I would just Google places around San Jose. I tried to get a variety of like food types, right? Like we have like seafood, Italian, a deli, Mexican, spaghetti, Chipotle. So I tried to get like a variety. And then, you can find their description either on Google or on Yelp or their homepage. So I went, copied like their main description and then like trimmed it down and edited it to, something small enough for our app. And then of course you can get the address. I had to go to like a latitude and longitude finder for like an address. So I went and did that manually. Again, manually curating your own data is tedious, but there are a lot of benefits to it. And then of course I can get their website and phone number. So yes, this was all just Google data. I built this spreadsheet. And then once I had all that, we import this into CloudKit. So what I'm going to do, go back to my CloudKit tab here, slide this over. I'm not sure how this is going to look here. Put that there. Move this over. Move it over, because what I want to do in the lower right here, I want to hit add. Well, first of all, back to our records. I got a little ahead of ourselves. This private database, right? We want to do public database because, right, we want to put our location records in our public database. Default zone is fine. By the way, we didn't touch on zones. Essentially, zones for shared and private databases allow you to compartmentalize your database. Like if you wanted to put records in different zones within your database for compartmentalization reasons, that's what that is. We're not touching that, and it's for like private and shared databases. So yes, we want to be on type DDGLocation. Make sure you have this selected. And then new record, and you see the UI is going to be a little weird here. I'm going to make this bigger just so you can see what to expect here. But you see on the right here, we get this form to basically create our record. And you can see these are all the fields we created, right? Address, banner asset, description, location, latitude, longitude, name, phone number, square asset. And like I said, if you notice some differences from my beta when I went over the CloudKit dashboard, like I said, a lot changed in the beta. And that's what I want to point out is you can always come back and change this. Okay, so let's start importing this stuff here. So let's move this to the right. I guess I'll just use the click back and forth here. So I'm just going to go top to bottom. And by the way, I'm only going to do 2 because you'll get the gist of it after 2 and you're not going to want to watch me for 15 minutes do it. I know you'll probably just like stop the video there. So I'm going to do 2 of these together, kind of talk through it, and then we'll end the video there and you can, finish out the rest. So again here, Scott Seafood, Command C to copy, find the name, Command V, there we go, Scott Seafood, description, copy, paste. Again, tedious, I know. Small price to pay though for the benefits. Street address, especially there's only 8 of them, right? So address, there you go. And latitude, Command C, put it in the latitude section of the location. Longitude, put it in the longitude section of the location. And then website, Command C, hit the website URL and phone number. And paste in the phone number. Now, there's 2 things we're missing, right? We're missing the square asset and the banner asset. We'll talk about that in a second. But I always go back to make sure like I didn't mess up my copy and paste, because again, you got to be very careful when you're doing this copy paste stuff. Copy paste errors are real. Okay, so now we're just missing our assets. So again, in the description, you're going to see a downloadable file called location images. You download that and you're going to see square and banner assets for every image. We're just going to drag those in. So if I go to my Finder here, you see I'm already in location images. So we're on Scott Seafood. So here's Scott Square. Just drag that into your square asset. And then Scott's banner. Let me scroll up. Drag that onto your banner asset. And you'll note it tells you 110 kilobytes. Remember it was like 500 something before. And then our square asset, 44 kilobytes. So you can double check your assets, make sure they're good to go. So Scott Seafood is good. So let's go, I'll make this bigger again so we can see all this, right? So once you hit save, like you're saving that record. Now what you do here, you notice it's not showing up in our list of records. Well, it's because you need to query, right? So we need to query what records. And if you query right away, sometimes it takes a couple seconds to index and get into your database, but just wait a couple seconds if it didn't show up. So now you can see if we click this down arrow, here's all of our Scott Seafood, right? We got the address, the phone number, the banner asset, website URL, all the stuff. So you can see our record, and here's the record name, the 7161B2. Our Scott's Seafood record is in there. So now that's in our database, good to go. Okay, we'll do one more together, and then I'll leave you to it after that. So let's slide this over. We're going to do Original Joe's next. So Command C, oh, actually, no, I got ahead of myself here. New record in the lower left. Hit new record. There you go. You see I get this nice, clean, new form. And sometimes I double check just to make sure C1DE is different than this, 716B2, right? The UUID. Make sure that's unique. Cool. So now we're just going to go copy Original Joe's name, find the name, paste it in there, copy the description, paste it in there. And you'll see, like, when I'm not like explaining things and stuff, like you can get through this pretty quickly. Paste it in there. Again, having this spreadsheet set up first is nice. It's very sensitive scrolling when it's this narrow and blown up. So my latitude goes there into the location, right? And then longitude in here, and then website into the website URL. And I know some of you are probably thinking, isn't there a better way to import this? I think there might be like some sort of import function. It wasn't obvious if there is, but maybe someone can do some digging, or someone in the comments in the threads can like put it down there. Yeah, it wasn't super obvious. But again, I only had 8 locations, only a little bit of data, so I just chose to do it this way. There are ways to create records though via code. And in fact, that's how we're going to create our DDG profiles. Like, we're not manually entering our profiles. In the app, when the user, logs in and creates their profile for the first time, that creates a DDG profile record, and we send it up to the server via code. So you are going to see how to do it both ways. This is kind of like the manual entry. And the reason we're doing this for location, of course, like you don't create locations in the app. Those already exist. So that's why we're building our data here. But for stuff that gets created in the app, like the DDG profile, we will create that in code and send that up. Okay, back to Finder, because that's the last thing we need for Joe's square image. There you go, or square asset, I should say. And then the banner asset for Joe's, drop into there. Double check. Okay, we got the address, we got the description, location. Cool, cool, cool. Hit save, saving record. And then I can close this out, make that bigger again, and then now query records. And now we should see 2 of them, right? The C1DE is now Original Joe's. There you go. You got the location, you got everything you need. So we have 2 of our records in. Again, I'm going to stop the video here because you don't want to watch me do that. So go ahead, enter the next 6 records. That will get our database all set up. And then in the next video, we're actually going to create our model in the app, which basically maps to these records. So it'll be very, very similar, except we'll be doing it in Xcode. That way, when we download these records, we can create our DDG location object and DDG profile object like in our app.